Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining this very first webinar. I'm so excited that you have joined and that you joined on time. I like to remind myself and also just iterate every time that I think about the work at Happy to Help that the purpose, the mission is to raise a generation of competent executive assistants across Africa. So with everything that we are trying to do, I have to remind myself that, that is the goal. So I don't lose sight of that. And so with this webinar series, alongside the workshops and master classes and summits that we'll be having every now and then, we're, hoping that we continue to work towards that mission. So help us God. And so without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker in this webinar series, Anastasia Kihara. I wish that there was enough time to share about, when I first met Anastasia or the first conversation that we had. But I think the long and short of what I would say is that Anastasia has such a big heart for the executive assistant role. And I trust that you will see exactly why I feel that way as we go along. If you haven't had a chance to read her profile, I'm just going to read it very quickly. I know that it was shared on our social media channels, but I'm going to read it out quickly. I had it open here. 1 second. It was open. I can't find it. I don't know what's happening today. 1 second. Just give me a second. I'll pull it up now. Okay, so if you haven't gotten a chance to read or to read her profile, I'm going to read it just so we kind of have a good idea of the substance that we are learning from today. Anastasia Kihara is a seasoned senior executive assistant with over 15 years of experience supporting C-suite executives and boards across diverse industries, including communications, consulting, technology, oil and gas, and international development. Currently serving as Executive Support and Administrative Coordinator at Future Africa Group, she plays a pivotal role in streamlining executive operations, driving organizational efficiency, and fostering stakeholder engagement. Her career spans global organizations such as Google, PwC, MasterCard Labs, and Wananchi Group, where she has been commended for her expertise in complex dairy management, strategic event planning, operation setup, and executive level communications. Passionate about elevating the executive assistant profession, Anastasia brings deep knowledge in corporate governance, administration systems, and project coordination. She is also pursuing a higher diploma in corporate governance, strengthening, strengthening her ability to serve as a trusted partner to leadership. I don't know how you feel about that, but this already makes me so excited. Anastasia, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you feeling?
Thank you so much, Edie, for having me. Should I switch on my camera?
Yes, please.
Today, I don't know what's happening today. The devil is a liar.
Elia, always.
Yeah.
Yes, you're good.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel good having here. This being here. This platform is just awesome. Thank you for that introduction. It was long, but I really appreciate. This is something that is very good, and I started feeling when I saw this and when I saw this post, and when I saw your invitation, I felt like it's finally our time because we've only been seeing posters for other webinars in the communication sector, in the tech sector, but we've never had our own time as EAs. And if you have noticed lately on LinkedIn or even on other platforms, the EA like lifestyle or the EA position is now coming out. People are now speaking more about EAs. young EAs, older EAs, or rather senior EAs in the industry, and just talking about us, how we've not been seen for a very long time, and yet we are the backbone of the organization. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I very much agree. I very much agree with you. Um, and just for us to, kick off this conversation today, we're going to be diving into a topic that I think is timely. I've heard a lot of EAs talk about the pressure of work. I've heard a lot of EAs talk about creating systems and structures and not burning out, finding balance somehow. I've heard a lot of that. And so I believe that this topic is very timely. The topic for today, as you might have seen, is the organized mind, systems, and sanity for executive assistants. And to just kick us off, my first question for you would be when you think about this topic, what is on your heart for people listening today?
The organized mind. Okay. Thank you so much for that question. First of all, I'm so elated that's the topic. Because as an EA, if your mind is not organized, then definitely you're doomed for failure, you know? And I've seen it, and even in my career, um, systems are very important. And when I started as a PA, because I did not even start as an EA, I started as a customer service and I grew up the ladder to being now a senior executive assistant. And there were no systems in place. We used to do everything from scratch. So if you're doing something like Excel, if you're doing something like Word, if you're doing something like PowerPoint, you actually started from scratch. Like you had to think it through. Not like nowadays we have technology, things like ChatGPT, things like Copilot, things like Gemini. You can actually integrate that and get your work done faster. So at first, I would say that the world has evolved, tech has evolved, even the EA role has evolved. And you, as an EA, if you don't evolve with what is happening, if you don't catch up with what is happening, then you'll be left behind and you'll be left in the stone age. And your work will be so difficult for you. And having an organized mind you'll have a hard time at work. Let me just say it, and you'll also be complaining about burnout every now and then. So this topic is actually very important because there are different ways on how EAs can actually transform themselves to have organized minds. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I was speaking with someone recently, and the person was talking about, the way that they are starting to see the idea of systems. I liked what the person said. The person said that creating systems is not necessarily about being rigid, but it's about creating a rhythm that helps you to breathe better. And I thought that was just such an incredible way of putting it. And so sanity comes from the systems and the structures that you have put in place for you to be able to do your work. So I like what you said about, if you don't have systems in place, you are doomed for burnout, really. Whether it happens now or it happens, a few months, a few years down the line. And so I think with everything that you also said, I'm also seeing that it's not enough for you to be responsive in terms of it's not enough for you to be reactive to what is handed over to you, but how can you collect everything that is handed over to you and put it in and put a structure to the way that you deliver so that you're not just efficient with collecting tasks and delivering on your deliverables, but the way that you organize your work truly makes you more than just an efficient EA. I think my next question to you now will be um, what do you think makes an EA an enabler of leadership success? Because leaders recruit EAs to work with them because they want to be more organized, they want to be more efficient. But for you to be able to attain that position, you have to have some level of organization yourself. So more than you just being efficient for your executive, what is it from in your own view that makes an EA an enabler of leadership success?
Thank you for that question. And as you were talking, you've noticed I was like writing down, trying to understand the question better. That is one thing that EAs should always do. So you need to be like very fast, think fast on your feet, and also you have to be very proactive. You find that most EAs are not proactive and they end up just being admin. You're just an admin. And that is how people describe you in the office. That's our admin. Because your work is just to execute. You are not proactive. You do not go above and beyond. You should always be like 5 steps ahead. And once you get to know your executive, because I have like 5 rules with me, like 6 rules with me. When it comes to organization, how you organize yourself, when it comes to calendar, you categorize the calendar, put it in different colors. When it comes to external stakeholders, internal stakeholders, teams, what is important, what is urgent, what can wait, So at times you can even color code the calendar, you get to know the differences, and you're making work easier for your executive at the end of the day. So when it is it's blue, probably that's for external stakeholders. When it's green, probably that's for internal stakeholders. When it's red or something, that is very urgent or very important. You see? So you become in line with your executive. Another thing is I have in mind, or rather I do, is my ritual, my weekly ritual. I make sure that every Friday I prep things for the following week so that I do not have any surprises on Monday morning. Like I have to come to work and I have a surprise, something came up and I did not know about it. So by the end of the day, every Friday, I make sure that I have planned myself accordingly. And even when the boss or my executive reaches out over the weekend, because as he is, and I mentioned it somewhere else, we're like doctors. We are always on call because our work is always flexible. We cannot be rigid, saying that my work is 9 to 5. You have to be very, very flexible. So integrate your systems, integrate your gadgets, integrate your laptop, integrate your phone, so that you can always get messages and act fast. Another point is I have is a 2 minute task. If any task that has been allocated to you can be done under 2 minutes, do it. Because this will save you a lot of time at the end of the day, and also save you with procrastination, because once we procrastinate something as it is, that's the end of us, because you procrastinate one thing and another thing and another thing, and at the end of the day you end up working late, and people wonder, why are you always working, why do you always have a lot of like workload? It's because you procrastinate very tiny tasks that can be done under 2 minutes. So I always have that 2 minute rule. If there's anything that can be done under 2 minutes, I do it immediately. My other one is I call it email triad system. So the email triad system is whereby I have emails on action, on standby, rather reference, and on waiting. So is it something that can wait? Is it something that I can answer now, or is it something that I can action on it? Yeah. So you have to categorize yourself again. This is making you so organized in everything that you do. When it comes to emails, when it comes to answering people, and it gives you balance and sanity at the end of the day. My other one is a morning 5 check-in with your executive. In the morning, when your executive checks in the office, you should be the first person to walk into his or her office for 5 minutes only. Here, you're catching up on the things to do for the day so that you will be able to know what to prioritize. And I'll talk about it later. It's called priority matrix. You get to know what is urgent, what is important, and what can wait. So you get to understand the order of the day so that when something comes up that was not on the plan, you'll get to categorize it accordingly. And you won't start panicking and say, oh my God, my boss is needed now, he's getting into another meeting. Already you'll have weighed the options. And it will also give you sanity at the end of the day and avoid burnout. My last point is personal sanity buffer. As an EA, PA, admin, you should always have 15 minutes break to yourself, or else you'll die. Because things keep on coming. Things keep on coming. Departmental heads, they want to talk to the boss. The bosses, the external stakeholders want to reach out. You have emails. You have the things to attend in the office, administrative issues. You have logistics that you're taking care of. So just always give yourself, assign yourself like 15 minutes break. And there's one thing that maybe someone can actually tell me that, Anna, this is not in the policy. There's one thing people don't understand. It is you're very powerful in the organization. I'm not asking you to take advantage of your power, but you are very powerful. You're next to the boss. So for you to you being next to the boss means by you being proactive, by you going over and beyond what you're supposed to do, and creating solutions, not just problems, identifying problems here and there. Creating solutions make you become a trusted advisor. You become a strategic partner at the end of the day, and not just an admin. That is now where I want to connect the 2 points. You're now not just an admin. You're now not just executing things and deliverables in the office, but now you're becoming a strategic partner because you're going over and beyond. You're being proactive.
Thanks, Anna, for sharing that. While you were speaking, I was taking some notes. You spoke about color coding. You spoke about the 2 minute rule. You spoke about the email triad and the morning check-in. And I want to just touch on this, just a few of them a little bit. I'll speak about the color coding first. I know that you tried to explain it a bit more, but I would like us to speak about it very practically and the benefits that your executives have gotten from that color coding. Because for anyone might just think that its calendar is just for me to color code it, just so that okay, it looks, some people think that it's just for it to look pretty. Some people don't understand how you can use color coding as a productivity tool. So if you can please speak to that in a practical way, what has it done for you as an EA? And what are the benefits that some of your bosses might have, benefited or gotten from you color coding their calendars? I would also want you to speak about, the morning check-in with your executives. And I think that why I want you to talk about that is a lot of people work remotely with their executives, right? And a lot of people don't also have that sort of relationship where they can just reach out to their boss, especially EAs with 1 year, 2 years of experience. They don't feel as much as you were saying that EAs are powerful. I don't think that a lot of EAs have come into that understanding of the kind of power and the kind of weight that their role carries. And so EAs with less experience, I mean, it's easy for you with 15 years to be able to go to your boss and say, let's do a morning check-in and see these are the things that you need to do. But for someone who's starting out, how can they start to grow into that sort of authority? Because again, they need their bosses' openness to be able to continue to do something like that. So 2 things I want you to please speak about. What does color coding look like in practical terms, and what are the benefits from what you have experienced? And then with morning check-in for people who haven't really grown into that sort of authority, how can they start to do that? Oh, your mic is muted.
Yeah. Okay. I get you. I want to start first with before we get to the color coding, before we go to the email charge. Let me first start with what you asked about. EAs being like a year old or 2 year olds in a role, and they're young years and they don't know how to go about approaching their bosses. Then you have no business being an EA if you cannot approach your boss. Because the first thing you do when you join an organization is earn trust. That is the first thing you do. You earn your boss's trust. And being an EA, being a PA is not easy. There has to be chemistry. If there's no chemistry, it will not work out. no matter how good you are at your job, no matter how many masters you have or bachelor degrees you have for that role, if there's no chemistry between you and your boss or your executive, the one that you're supporting, it will not work out. It's a two-way traffic. And that is one point that people really need to understand before applying for these EA jobs. Dig more about the executive that you want to support. Because when you're going for an interview, you're not just being interviewed as Anna, as Edie for the role. You're also interviewing that executive. You're also interviewing that organization. You're also interviewing that executive. How does he relate with other people? You get to know these things. Then the social media. So dig as much as you can so that by the time you're going there, you know his temperament. Because with an executive, it's all about his or her temperament. How do they react when you make a mistake? How do they react? Do they have patience? Do they have no patience? Do they have empathy? Are they not empathetic? Can you trust them? Are they truthful? So these are points to consider before getting into a role. And once you get into that role, your number one task is to earn the trust of this executive. Because if you do not earn the trust, then again, my friend, there's nothing you're doing there. You'll just be colliding because you'll not be understanding each other. Because when you don't earn the trust, then there's no chemistry between the two of you. So when your executive reaches out, you'll always be feeling like, this person is nagging me. It's the weekend, things happen. He has missed his flight. But again, he's like, now I'm reaching out to Anna again with her attitude. You get? So trust is key. You need to earn trust. Second thing, when you join in as an EA, you need to learn how to do things fast and efficiently. Not just fast and shady work, fast and efficiently. Do a good job at the end of the day. So that even if he has something against you or like always wow your boss. That is one thing. I'll give an example with myself. I started my new role, this role that I currently have, or rather I'm on in December last year, and I was 5 months pregnant when I got the role. First of all, that's a miracle by itself, getting a job while pregnant, and it's an EA role. And when I secured the role, the following day, the first day I signed the contract and I did an induction and I got to know about the organization. The second day, I sat in with my boss. I closed the door. I was like, I want to have a chat with you. He was like, yes, Anna. Like, I'm expecting. He was like, oh, wow, congratulations. That's there. I got to know the kind of person I'm working with, or rather, I'll be working with. Because if it was any other boss, would be like, what? And you allowed us to hire you and you're expecting? I mean, that's unacceptable. But the reaction I got from him already. Wow, Anastasia, congratulations. When are you due? How far along are you? How can we help you? How can we assist you in this journey? And he was like, oh, you have like 4 or 5 months to go. You have time. Take it easy. So when I started my new job, he knew my condition. So he knew the kind of tasks to give me already. Yeah. So he would not test my patience with giving me difficult, stressful tasks because he knew my condition. That's a very empathetic boss. Yeah. And I'm so grateful to have him as my boss currently. So you need to understand and get to know your executive in detail because as they say, this is like your work wife or your work husband. Yeah. So if there is no that chemistry, if there is no that trust, if you cannot do things efficiently and very fast, I mean, you'll have a very very hard time. So I'm appealing to all the EAs, the new joiners in any organizations, anyone who wants to become an EA. The first thing you need to do when you land on that role is earn the trust of your executive. And you earn it by doing the things I've told you to do. You're honest. You do your tasks very fast and efficiently. Go above and beyond. You want to sign that probation contract at the end of the day. So you have to prove yourself. But the key, most important thing is just transparency between the two of you. Now, on to the next question about color coding and how it has helped me. Um, on the calendar, there are daily routines. We call them routines because they are things you do on the daily, or rather, things the executive does on the daily. Another thing I need to point out and also give an example with myself. There are limits on how you support your executive. You can be so trusted that you end up having some personal stuff for your executive on the calendar. Or you can be managing two calendars, two of his calendars. There is his personal time or her personal time, and there's the office side. So again, it's up to you to agree with your executive. Yeah. So for me, I'll give an example with myself and what has worked for me. Color coding has really worked for me because I get to know what is important, what can wait, and what is very urgent. And also differentiate from the daily routines. For instance, there's a school pickup that is done on the daily at a particular time. I've highlighted it a different color. There's weekly check-ins for the team, probably for the directors or for the team. There's external stakeholders. There are very urgent meetings or high level meetings that are for stakeholders. When you mark your calendar that way, you both also get to understand that, you know what, blue means external stakeholders, green means this is external stakeholders, but is very, very important. I have to seal this deal at the end of the day. So it's not just an external stakeholder meeting, it is high-end meeting. It is a very valuable meeting. He cannot afford to miss that meeting, and you cannot afford to reschedule that meeting because meetings can be rescheduled, right? So when you color code like that, it's not just for you, for ease, for yourself, but also for your executive. And these are also things you do probably on the first week when you join, because you and your executive, you're one. That is one people don't understand. You're always one. So that when you're facing the organization, you're facing the organization as a team. So, and that is why you find that most EAs report to the CEOs or the MD or the country director, to whoever they are supporting. They do not report to the HR or to the head of finance. Mm-mm. They report to the CEO. There's a direct report there. So you're actually a team, and you have to face the organization as a team. So you have to have an understanding between the two of you. If something has changed on the calendar, he needs to tell you immediately. That is another point I need to discuss about over communication. You should always over communicate as an EA and not under communicate. Don't ever think that, oh, I just told him this. No, I cannot reach out again. No, I need to give you an example of my boss and I. We're always on team. He told me to do something, I'm like, done. Or this else has come up, or this else has come up, and this. I've changed ABCD, I've moved your calendar. I've changed this meeting to this time because this other meeting is coming, and I feel this meeting is of higher value than this, or rather, this meeting is more urgent than this, or the stakes here are higher. So I've done ABCD, or can I do ABCD? So once you're sure about what you're doing, you can actually tell him, I have done. Or if you're not very sure, you can ask him, can I do ABCD because of EFG? It even gives you confidence. It even gives you get trust from your boss. It's like, Anna has got it. And if it reaches also a level to where your executive is making you answer emails, external emails from other head of organizations. We were talking about power. Tell me how powerful that is. Because you're responding to another CEO of another organization. And you're reaching out so that he can reach out to his EA so that now they can link the two of you together. So this color coding is actually making my work easier and making the work of my executive easier. And when you make work easier for both, it actually saves a lot of time. And when you save a lot of time, you also save burnout at the end of the day, because what we're trying to get rid of is burnout. We cannot be having burnout, because when you have burnout, you develop a fire fighting mode. In the office, you're always firefighting. You're always angry, you're always working. There's so much work to do, but you're not effective. Your work is just to execute. You're just executing, but is it effective? There are no results to show. You're just an admin. You're not a strategic partner. You're not a trusted advisor. So once you do something, your mind should always be like thinking, am I adding value? Yes, I'm doing this for him or for her, but am I really adding value? So that color coding, is it adding value, or is it just making the calendar look beautiful? It is adding value, because he gets to know I have a 12 o'clock with so and so, and this is a high value meeting. I cannot miss this. I cannot cancel this. But if it's a daily routine, I can cancel. You understand? So you both also get to understand what is what on the calendar, and not just make hasty decisions. I hope I've answered the question.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Thank you. I think as you were speaking, because you kept talking about, you know, the few things to do when you join an organization or when you start working with someone. And I think that all of the systems that we are talking about are things that need to be set during your, first week or first month of joining. And I just wanted you to please share, maybe in the next 2 minutes or so, what is a checklist for systems that you need to put in place when you are joining an organization? So some people might have been EAs with their current bosses for up to a year. Some people maybe 3 years, but they don't have XYZ systems in place. And you've done this for 15 years. What are some of those systems that you would recommend to executive assistants and say, these are the systems that you must put in place when you start working with an executive or when you join an organization? I think let's start there so that people can even start to appraise the systems that they currently have in place and see, okay, what system do I need to add? What do I need to improve? What is something that I should have had that I don't have now? And yeah, I think if we can touch on that, it would really help people go back with an assignment for how they, continue to work.
Okay. I get you. So the systems that you put in place, like I had mentioned some earlier, when it comes to calendar, when it comes to your weekly routine, when it comes to the tasks you need to do, can you do them under 2 minutes? Can you put them on wait? There's something called priority matrix. That is one thing I think I want to talk about as one of the systems that I've created myself. Um, Priority matrix is where I differentiate deliverables, whether it's priority, like it's important, it's urgent, or can it wait? Because at times you're given deliverables to meet at the end of the day, and you're like, is it urgent? Is it important? Or can it wait? Where do you place what? You need to know how to differentiate what and where to place what. Another thing is creating boundaries. Um, Creating boundaries and stop being a people pleaser. A yes girl. And I used to have challenge. This was one of the challenges I had as a young PA and growing and evolving into my role. And just saying yes to everything. Anna, can you do this? Yes. Anna, can you do this? Yes. Different departmental heads. And I'm giving you to do this. Yes. You just yes, 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 yes. At the end of the day, you have so much work to do. You're wondering, where did all this work come from? But because you're trying to please everyone, you become a yes girl and say yes to everything. And creating boundaries was one of the things I had to do. And if something is not EA related, redirect it to the right department. Don't do it. And do not ever feel wrong for not doing it, because it has got nothing to do with you being an EA or in the EA role. So redirect it to another department and do not feel ashamed of doing it. So creating boundaries, getting to know the systems that in the organization and integrating with them. So if it's the intranet, if it's how you answer your email, if it's Microsoft, how do you integrate? Sorry, my earpiece is falling. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Are you speaking? Oh, I can't hear you anymore if you're speaking. No, can't hear you anymore.
Can you hear me now? I can't hear anything.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Ah, good. All right. Um, I think this has stopped working. What was that?
You are speaking about boundaries.
Oh yeah. I was talking about boundaries. So you need
Sorry,
to.
I'm having trouble with the connection. Please try again in a moment.
Did you hear that?
Yes, we heard that.
Just a minute.
Well, I don't think it's going to come up again, so we can just continue. Also, while Anna is trying to, sort this out, I can see that some of us have started putting questions in the chat. So, yes, please just
I cannot hear anything.
leave your questions in the chat, um, and we would answer after this. Anna, can you hear me?
I cannot hear you at all.
Oh, I can hear you very clearly. Can you
All
speak?
right.
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me
Yeah.
now? Okay, good.
Yes, now I can hear you. Okay, I could not hear a thing. So, um, I was talking about boundaries. I was talking about priority matrix,
Mhm.
and my third point is competing priorities.
Mm.
So competing priorities is whereby you have your executive being pulled, and it happens. So he's being pulled here, he's being pulled there, he's being pulled the other side. Everyone wants a piece of him or her at the same time. You understand?
Mm.
Yeah. So once that happens, um, again, the other point I had to integrate with that priority matrix also comes in. You get to talk to these different people and ask them, so how important is this meeting? Can it wait? Is it very urgent? Why do you need to see him now? You know, at the end of the day, what I keep on saying is, for my number one goal, for everything to be and to go on course, for me to be as organized as possible, my number one key and my number one system is priority matrix, because I will always have competing challenges. I will always have being a yes girl to everyone. I will always have things popping up at the end of the day. So if I do not have my priority matrix in order, then I'm doomed to fail. I'll always need to understand what is urgent, what can wait, and what is important. Another thing I like doing is integrate different features. Why do I need to work on Excel from scratch, for instance, at this day and age? Whereas I can use ChatGPT. Whereas I can use Copilot. Why do I need to do anything from scratch once again? Why don't I just leverage on those particular features and they can help me? And you know what? I use them to date, and I'm given a task to do, and I do it in less than 10 minutes. And you wow your boss. They're like, "How did you just do that?" Meanwhile, you just get the information, put it on ChatGPT, tell him this is what I want on this table on this format. Please categorize everything, and they complete it for you. And your work is now just to populate the information. So evolve as much as possible. As the technology is evolving, evolve with it. But for me, my number one system is priority matrix. The other thing is the six I talked about: the calendar, the 2 minute task, the five minutes morning check-in, my weekly routine. Those are very, very important. And those are the systems I use on the daily and everywhere I go, every organization I go to. Another thing is leveraging on networks. Definitely, when you started as an EA, you were small. You were exposed to a certain network of people. And by network, I'm talking probably about external stakeholders when it comes to vendors. Yeah. And when you're moving from one organization to the other, if this really worked for you here, definitely it's gonna work for you this other place. And as I said, you need to do things very fast and effectively. So why do you want to start a new thing again? Why do you want to start new relationship with someone else that you do not know? Rely on people that you know. Use your networks. Leverage on them. For instance, I'll give you another example. When I joined this organization, my boss was traveling, and he something happened and he missed his flight. Do you know, I did not use the current travel agent. I used my long time travel agent. And I called him at 1 a.m. I need your help. Please help me out. And because of the history that we have together, he did not hesitate. And it was our factor at work, because my boss was like, this girl is very efficient. Because I'm not doing things limited to my scope of work. I'm going above and beyond. I'm reaching out to people. And you can always ask for help. If you do not know something, stop pretending that you know everything. We are not Miss Know It All. We learn every day. Talk to your colleagues. I have a colleague that I always pester next to me. I don't know how to do this. I've been told to do it. How do I go about it? Because we're always learning. So there's always need, you should always have a room for learning at the end of the day. Because we're trying to avoid burnout and being in a firefighting mode every now and then. Basically, that's what I can say.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that was clear. And we have two questions that I'm going to, share quickly. I think when you were speaking about the 5 minutes morning check-in with your boss, something that came to mind is just the fact that for you to be able to have that meeting with the authority, that you need to have that 5 minute check-in, because you don't have a lot of time. You have 5 minutes to run through the priorities. It means that you have to come correct. It means that you have to have a good understanding of what your boss's priorities are. It means that you cannot come to your boss with something that is a priority 10, and you're sharing it to them as something that they should even spend their time thinking about. So just wanted to point that out, that even with the 5 minutes meeting, if that's something that you're going to take to your work from Monday, know that it is important for you to come correct. It is important to you to be taking to your boss a list of the things that you know is priority to them, and not something that they would deprioritize. So we just wanted to share that quickly. We have two questions. I'm going to just read out one of it. One of it is about boundaries, because you were speaking about it. 1 second, I can't see the chat. Okay. So this person says, how do you handle situations when people start giving you bad energy because of the boundaries you have created?
I love that. I love that. I've experienced it a lot. Sorry. There's one thing I need to tell you, and I said it before. As an ear, you're very powerful. So use some of your powers. Bad energy, at the end of the day, if your rapport and your relationship with your manager is like this, it's very hard for you to be deterred by other things around you. Do you? Do your thing. If your boss likes you, if your boss approves, that's it. You're good to go. Don't even stress about anyone else. Don't even stress about the bad energy. That's on them. Focus on you. Save your energy. That's what we're doing. We're saving our energies. We're loving ourselves. You are good at what you do. Be so good at what you do that even when you leave that organization, it will take them like 7 months to fill your role. I'm talking from my own example. I worked for an organization, and when I left, it took them 7 good months to fill in my shoes, because you moved them from here to here. So to fill that gap, and I would get such people, and I got a new joiner, and they were trying to give that bad energy. But you know what? You are so good at what you do. You are your boss is so like they cannot breathe without you. You make yourself so indispensable that when something is brought against you because you've created boundaries, I mean, let people do their jobs. Don't be a yes girl. Do you, and people will respect you, because this role comes with a lot of disrespect. But put your foot down and make sure that you and your boss are one. You're like this. You're the trusted advisor. You're the strategic partner. So no one can tell you anything. That's what I can tell you. Be so good at what you do so that even if someone else is given that responsibility, they cannot hack it. They're like, Anna is the to go to person. I hope I've answered your question.
I love that. I love that, because there's such
Yeah,
a tendency. There's such a
yeah,
tendency to want to be in everybody's good book. And sometimes that's important, but the truth of the matter is you only report to the person that you report to. And so if you and that person are working well, everyone else is going to be all right. Someone close to
yeah,
me have been speaking about this theory she learned about, called, the let them theory. Let them think what they want to think. Let them say
yes,
what they want to say. As long as you are doing what you're meant to be doing, everybody is really going to be okay in the end. But I love that you also spoke about the importance of you just being so competent at what you do. I think that makes all the difference. You can't be setting boundaries if you don't deliver good work. You don't have the mouth. Like what are you like what is the boundary that you're setting about? So it's so important that you're so good at what you do. You know what you're meant to be doing. You know what can be delegated. You know what you're not supposed to be doing. It's with that authority that you're now able to, you know, let people out of, your your own personal environment. Okay, so the next question that someone shared, I'm going to read out quickly. We're going to wrap this up quickly. How do you handle wanting to build some industry knowledge to assist your executive better, versus prioritizing your own tasks. Did you get that?
Yes. How do you handle wanting to build some industry knowledge to assist your executive better versus prioritizing your own work? When you talk about the industry knowledge, is it the industry that you're in? Um, for instance, you're in tech. Let me get the question right. Is it that to enhance the knowledge in the tech industry that you're in, so that you can assist your boss better? For instance, if you're in consulting, is it enrich? Is that what they're asking,
Yes, yes,
or
I
is
assume
it
so.
just
Yes,
the EA role? Okay. Oh, I get it. So your boss is in finance, but you do not have that background. Go for training. Go for training and look for look for organizations that do training. Go back to school. I've gone back to school. I'm now doing corporate governance because I know what I want to be to my boss and the next level that I want to go to. So if you do not have that background, go to school. I would advise you to go to school and approach your boss. Tell him or her, you know what, this is what is happening. I want to go back to school to do ABCD so that I can assist you better. Can the organization chip in? Because you're actually creating value. If you go back to school, meaning you'll be able to do much more, your job better, and much more. And you'll be willing to um, take in more and move from point A to point B. You understand? Because even in being an executive assistant, there are different levels. So the higher you go, the more money you make, and the better you become at your role. So again, it's all about balance because I'm saying prioritizing your own tasks. So create your own system that works for you, that will make you not have a burnout at the end of the day, and create a balance. You're in school and you still have deliverables that have to be met at work. So work around that. What is important? What is urgent? What can wait? When you think like that, everything that comes in, whether it's emails, whether it's people wanting to see your boss, whether it's work from other departments, you'll get to know what is important, what can wait, and what is urgent. So someone is traveling next week and someone is traveling tomorrow. Which one comes first? What will you work on first? Definitely the person who's traveling tomorrow, right? Because it's urgent. Next week it's more important. Yes, you can get the itinerary and go back to it later. But for tomorrow, it's more important. Or having to secure a venue for a function that is happening tomorrow, a meeting that is happening tomorrow, and another one is happening 2 weeks to come. Because we do calendars even a month in advance. And something has come, you need to change for tomorrow's meeting. What will you work on first? The urgent need. So, like, let your priority matrix be your Bible. It will make you understand things better. And for enhancing your knowledge and yourself, it's important. Like, right now, I'm a new mother. I just got back to work from my maternity. So, I have a baby, an infant, rather, as a baby, yes. I have work and I've gone back to school because I have a target. By next year at this time, I want to have graduated from this course because I know what I want to do next year at a particular time. And I remember when I told that to my boss, he said, "You know what, Anna? He gave a word for it. He called something under pressure. Like you pressure yourself for a limited time, but for a bigger outcome. You understand? Because once you pressure yourself, you put yourself under pressure. You go back to school and you're still managing your tasks. You're limiting yourself from the other extracurricular activities. Probably on the weekends you have a girls' night out or you do A B C D E F G. Try block those ones for now. Concentrate on this what you want to achieve. Training, schoolwork, industry knowledge, The 3 days training, get smarter now, University of Cape Town. They have like 8 weeks training, and you get a completion, a certificate or a diploma. You get such things. Go to master classes. Leverage on these things because now they're there. It's not like our time, like when I was a younger version of me. We had to go like to full blown, school. But right now there are 8 weeks classes, 2 weeks classes, 4 weeks classes, trainings here and there. There's the EA platform training where you converge different EAs from different countries in the world. Get to webinars on trainings about the finance. Just learn every day. It's a learning process. You don't have to be perfect. No, we're not perfect. I'm also not perfect. I am not perfect. I'm not perfect at all. But I learn every day. So once you put it in your mind that it's a learning, be consistent in what you do, then you will manage. It's not hard. If you can multitask, then this should not be hard for you at all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think my last question is going to be, how are you able to incorporate balance and rest given all the demands that you have? Because I mean, it's a lot that you have going on for you, but also for even anyone else who's not yet a mom or who doesn't have as much demands as you have, but probably works with 2 or 3 executives. I think I saw something you posted recently where your boss had reached out to you on a Sunday to help sort out something. And again, like you mentioned, it almost feels like the EA role is like a doctor who's always on call. How do you create time for rest and rejuvenation? I think that's going to be the final question before we wrap up.
Um, I have we have very flexible working hours as EAs. So there's a time when things are so much to do on your plate. You have so much to do on your plate, and there's a time you're not very much busy. So during those times, I take I take I take my time in performing my task.
Mm.
Yeah, or the 2 minute task. I get to analyze the kind of tasks I'm doing. If they're tasks that I can complete in good time, I finish and I go home early, and I'm not stopped at that because there's already a relationship between my boss and I. He understands. I can reach out to Anna on a Saturday. I can reach out to Anna on a Sunday, and she will come through. So, what makes you stop from going home early on a Monday once you've done your work? So, it's all about balancing yourself, balancing your work. So, if you're able to achieve your goals early, then rest. Do not take in more.
Mm.
It's all about time management, how you manage your time, how you prioritize your work, how you meet your deliverables at the end of the day. But don't kill yourself at work saying it's a Monday, I'm done, and it's 4 p.m. You want to stay around until 5 so that you can be saying you're working very hard. No, go home. You're done for the day. Your boss has seen it that you're done for the day. You've done your work and you've done your work effectively. You've added value. Go home and rest. So that's what I do. I do not wait for the weekend. No. If I finish at 3, if I finish at 4, I go home. If I feel I do not have much to do, I come in late. I come in at 9, I come in at 10. But if there's so much to do, I'll come in at 7. Sometimes I'll leave work at 6:30, at 7 p.m. Because our jobs are not 9 to 5. They're very flexible. So again, the relationship that you have with your boss, your manager matters a lot. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much. That's so real. Thank you for really spotlighting the importance of the relationship that you have with your boss. I think we've gone a little past an hour, but I think this has been such an insightful conversation. Thank you so much, Anna, for spending this time with us. I don't know if anyone as well also feels as inspired as I have felt on this call. so grateful for your time. I think, yeah, that's just what I was going to say. If anyone has any questions, you can, send a message to me, and always happy to support where I can. And that's it. Before we close, if you're not also following us on our social media um, channels, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram, please feel free, follow us. We also have a community for executive assistants. I'm just going to post the WhatsApp link here if you'd like to join that, because I mean, that's where you're going to find out about events like this, upcoming webinars or resources. Feel free to join that. And yes, that would be all for now. And I'm so grateful. It was so lovely speaking with you. Can't wait to see what else we get to do together in future. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you for having me.